Motorcycle trailers? Yeah, I'm not talking about the ones you put your motorcycle on and haul it to the place that you're going to. I'm talking about the ones you hook up to the back of your motorcycle that you can put all your adventure gear on. Maybe you heard of them, maybe you haven't. Yep, we're going to get into it next on the Radio 690 ADV. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Joe here, Radio 690 ADV. Hopefully everybody's having a good and fantastic day. Yeah, motorcycle trailers. We're going to get into that here in just a little bit. Anyway, first off, I would like to give a shout out to all of our Patreon sponsors that are out there. Thank you so much for being a sponsor and helping the channel out and helping it grow and help offset some of the costing and things that go into it. And if you'd like to be a Patreon, we sure would love to have you, and it sure does help a little bit because we don't really make a whole lot off of this stuff. But we're going to do it regardless, one way or another. But we do appreciate all of the sponsors that are out there. Thank you so much, and we do appreciate you. If you're thinking about it, it's patreon.com/690ADV. Don't forget, if you're needing any motorcycle parts or anything like that, don't forget KTM North Texas. They don't just do KTM. They also do other motorcycles as well. They have everything from jackets, boots, all that type of stuff. They do a lot of price matching, and they're usually just as cheap as what you can find online for the parts that you're needing. Give them a shot. Don't forget Bert at slmracing.com. He'll take care of you. Anyway, on to the podcast this morning. We are talking about motorcycle trailers, and we're not talking about trailers that we're going to roll our motorcycle up on. We're talking about the motorcycle trailers you hook up to your rear axle of your motorcycle, and you can travel with it. Excuse me. Got to have that coffee in the morning. Anyway, if you've heard of them or if you haven't heard of them, and they're really kind of cool. They are little single axle trailers that hook up to the axle of your dual sport motorcycle or adventure motorcycle. And there's a couple of companies that actually make them that I know of. They do make them. They're more mainstream for your bigger cruiser bikes and stuff, but there are some manufacturers out there that are making these for dual sports, and they're putting dirt tires on the back and, with suspension and stuff like that, which is really kind of cool. And I've seen them for a couple, 3 years, and I've been very interested in them. I just can't quite seem to get off the fence to pull the trigger and buy one. But they are kind of cool. The companies that are out there, at least the one that I know of, is there's one. It's the SherpaX, the SherpaX. They're probably the most mainstream. There was Moto Mule for a little while. I don't know if they're in business anymore. But then you're seeing quite a few of them out there that are homemade. Guys are making them themselves. What they're doing is they're taking the rear end of smaller dirt bikes and creating the cage chassis for the boxes and stuff like that, or whatever they want to use to secure their adventure gear and their load, and they're just making it themselves based off of what they've seen. Now, the concept is really super cool. I think I'm going to get into it in just a second on where my fear is. I have a small fear with those things. I don't know. Maybe you own one, and if you do, I think that would be awesome if you would share that with everyone else, especially if this is, if you're listening on YouTube or somewhere where you can make a comment or anything like that. Tell us what your experience is with them and what you do like about it, what you don't like about it, and if you made any modifications to it to make it more your own type of adventure type pull behind trailer and stuff like that. Well, anyway, The one that I think gets the most recognition is the SherpaX or the SherpaX, whatever you want to call it, tomato, I don't really care so much about, if people want to correct me, so be it. Trust me, there's plenty of them out there that love to correct. But the SherpaX, and they make these for, the build is the same, but they make all the different axle bolts because they make a custom axle through bolt that will attach it to the rear end of the motorcycle. And if you have not seen one, just look them up. Just type in SherpaX or SHERPA X or SpaceX, and it should pop up. You should be able to find it on Google or even YouTube. You'll see quite a bit of it, and there's mixed reviews with these trailers. And I think, like I said, I think the concept is really awesome. The mindset behind it is really, really, really cool because there's just so much that you can do extra by using one, because what are they? They're like almost 100 liters of storage. Not only that, it attaches to your axle part of the rear end, so that the weight is distributed directly onto the actual tire. Instead of the actual rear end of the bike. So the theory behind it is the drag of it should not impede with the stability of the bike. Whereas the more gear you put on, the more it puts the sag, and then the sag basically raises the front, and yada yada yada. That. So if you don't, well, basically it takes all that away. So basically, the whole back end of your motorcycle is completely free. There's nothing back there, and then you have more capacity than any Panniers system that you could ever have. And we'll also get into the price of it too, versus buying a set of Panniers and racks and stuff like that. But it takes all that away. So in theory, you have more space, you can actually carry more weight, and it doesn't impede with your, theoretically. Now, like I said, I don't own one. I've never ridden with one. I don't know, but I've read quite a few forums, and I have also, I don't know of anybody that's actually owns one of these actually. Now, I do have a buddy that's real, he's chomping at the bit and wanting to pull the trigger, and I kind of want him to pull the trigger first. East Texas ADV, my buddy Jeff over there, I really want him to pull the trigger on it, because if it's fantastic, I'm going to go get one. If he gets it and he takes it through his, he has a huge ranch out in East Texas, and he's got his own motorcycle track, like a dual sport training area, and it's really awesome. But if he could get one of those and run it through that, we're talking washouts, roots, logs, all that type of stuff, and somebody that I know and I trust give me the full, Monty on it, I'd be totally inclined to pull down on one. But as of right now, I just, I'm a little reluctant to go and just, drop money on something that I just don't know. I need to be closer to 70% before I do something like that. Now, if you go look it up, like I said, there's Moto Mule. I don't know if they're in business anymore. Theirs was really cool looking. The SherpaX or the SherpaX, it's really cool looking. They're lightweight. I think you can haul up to like 80 pounds on these things, which is ridiculous, more than you'd ever want to. But the way that these guys outfit these things, which is really cool, is, you can put all that gear in the box and pull it with literally putting no drag weight to the rear end of the motorcycle, theoretically. And not only that, what they're doing is they're really adventurizing these things by putting Rotopax setups, like a gallon of water, a gallon of gas, 2 gallons of water, 2 gallons of fuel, all these different things that they're putting attachments to it, so they can really get out and completely get lost. That's the coolest theory behind this whole ordeal, is what the possibilities are of these motorcycle pull-behind trailers. And like I said, if you've never heard of them, please go check one out, because they're really cool, because I'd love your input on what you think about them, because, and if you have one, because the concept, like I said, this isn't new. It's not like late breaking news, but it really, in all honesty, could, for the serious adventure rider, that could be the ticket to completely 100%. That's a difference maker. Of really getting out into the thick of it, and not having to worry about running out of fuel. You could carry water. Man, you can carry all sorts of food. So, you could go 3-4 days away from town, pack it all on that trailer, and you're pretty much self-contained. And if it was you and another buddy that had one on, like, say, some 690s or some 500s or some CRF 450Ls or WR250Rs or DRZ 400s, DR 650s, XR 650. I'm not going to mention them all, but you get what I'm getting at. With some of those, if you had 2 of those, you really, honestly, you could go get lost. And you could really go get lost and get out in it. And you could carry, more substantial camping gear. You could carry the things that you normally would not carry, you would be able to carry. And you would not have to worry about the one thing that is always the Achilles heel to a trip: weight. You wouldn't have to worry about the weight. You could get everything that you wanted, and without worry. If I had something like that, it would change everything in my adventure traveling world for what it is and what I would be able to do. It would literally change everything, because I don't have to sit there and think too much, I have basically 3 different setups, for adventure traveling and camping. I have tons of gear. Basically, I've got mountain, desert, and then I've got warm weather gear. So depending on what I'm going to do will dictate what I'm going to do. Well, the one that really makes it the hardest, cold weather. Cold weather camping, things get bulkier. It doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. We've got all these geniuses and all these experts that are out there. Cold weather equates to thicker. Your sleeping bags are thicker. Your insulated mats really have to be thicker depending on what the temperature, goes down to. Excuse me. And, and even your shelter, more than likely is going to be a little bit bulkier, depending on what type of season tent that you have. So, the difference in camping in 40-degree temperatures versus 30-degree temperatures, anybody that's actually does it will tell you 40 to 30 is night and day in how everything is, in how you pack and what you really, truly, honestly need. So back to the trailer. It would be an issue. You'd have all these different things that you could do, which is really fantastic and amazing. So it would open up all these avenues of all these different ways that you could outfit it, but not only that, and how much you can pack. Now, I'm going to jump down to the negative side. Now, these are the things that go through my mind that stop me from going to potentially purchase one of these. Reliability. It boils that's about 90% of it. Reliability. I look at them, they look really cool. They look like they're built pretty good. But man, I know some of the area and some of the terrain that me and my friends and buddies go through, and I've seen the videos, man. I've seen the videos. I see them jumping logs and stuff, but they're in a little training area, man. I'm talking real world. Real world is always different than just sitting in your basement or riding around your backyard or your farm. You know, if you could really get out and just test it over and over and over with somebody that you knew, then I think I would be a whole lot more inclined to pull the trigger and go get one. But I look at them, and like I said, they look fairly built. What concerns me the most is the rear end of it. I'm not too worried about the shocks and the suspensions that they put in there to offset some of the bounce and all that type of stuff back there. But that tire, that tire is what gives me the most fear. Is it's like a motorcycle. It's a single axle, and it's got one tire, and it looks like a bicycle tire. So, now I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, we'll just change that out. Okay, we can. Question is what kind of tire would fit on there? And but the one that comes with it, I think that is the biggest complaint, is that the tire just goes to garbage. But here's the deal: it doesn't matter what tire you put back there. It doesn't matter what tire you put back there. If you tear that tire, or if you get a hole in that tire, I know you can patch it and things like that, but that tire is what gives me the most fear. And the front actuating arm that actually allows it to pivot. So when you turn, it actually turns with the bike. So it doesn't look like, or at least I didn't see it, and it may, have a grease cert or something like that in there so that you could actually make sure that it's lubricated and all that stuff at all times. Because if that thing ever started to grind or seize or anything like that, like like the around the triple tree on your motorcycle, I mean, it would just be over. It would be catastrophic if you had all your stuff in there and it just completely broke or anything. I mean, what would you do? That's my thing. I was like, what would you do? What would you do? Carry duct tape, this, try to limp yourself to a town or something like that. So, the wheel, I don't know what kind of welding it uses. I just don't know the durability and the reliability of these things. And I know what I get when I buy a motorcycle. You can, depending on the type of motorcycle that you get, you know what I'm saying? You can jump them, you can dump them, and they'll just take a beating, and they'll want more. This thing here, I don't know. I really don't know. And if you do, down below, tell everybody, so that way we know more about these things. But I may do a follow-up podcast on this, because if East Texas ADV gets one, man, I can get some real data. I'm definitely going to throw it out there to everybody. And if there's one thing that you can take to the bank with me, is I'm a no frills kind of guy. I'm a no BSer. I don't have time to lie to people. Now, I may get information incorrect, but that's just because, a lot of the times when I'm recording or if I'm making videos or stuff like that, it's not easy to remember all this type of stuff. This isn't Hollywood. So, I don't cut, I don't do jump cutting. I don't do all that stuff. Most of my stuff is pretty much straight up, it's pretty accurate for what it is. But as far as the trailers go, or the motorcycle trailer pull behinds, I mean, I don't know. And like I said, the concept is super, super cool. And I think it would be really awesome to own one, but I'm a little reluctant to pull down. Now, here's the kicker. Depending on what kind of bike you got, let's get into money. Let's talk dollars and cents. A good set of racks and panniers. Now, we're not talking a top box or any of that type of stuff. Top boxes are, they're not cheap, depending, unless you know what you're doing and you're going to put like a military box like mine. There are options. Now, a good set of panniers. Now, I mean, you're talking top of the line. Now, if you're, as they would like to say, top of the line, what comes to mind when you're thinking panniers? You're thinking Tour Tech, you're thinking Jivvy, you're thinking Happy Trails, God, the list goes on and on and on. Now, when you start throwing those names around, those names come at a cost. Rack and side panniers, depending on what the liter capacity is, most of them are going to be maximum maybe 30 liters a side. You may get more, it just depends. The more liter, the more money. But one thing doesn't change is the price. I mean, the price does change, but what I mean is it's not cheap. So depending on your bike and its specific setup, there just rule of thumb, $1,200. It depends on what manufacturer, what you're getting, what you plan on getting, and how deep your pocketbooks want to go. Now, if you want to go a midline, which is pretty good, pretty trusted, you can beat the crap out of them. They work real good. I'll tell you what, Rocky Mountain ATV, Tusk, you can't beat it, man. Now, do they make them for every bike? They do not, but they do make them for quite a few dual sports and adventure bikes. They work pretty good. They're quick release. You can lock them. Are they top of the line, type stuff? No, but at the end of the day, you're hauling luggage, man. If it's a show for you, congratulations. Have a great day. To me, it's not really the look. It's more of the capability of what it is. You're going to end up slamming stickers all over it anyway. So then you got soft luggage. So, basically to get into a set of luggage for your motorcycle, just rule of thumb, $400, $1,200, $1,600, depending on a top box. So let's just say $400 and change all the way to, let's just round it out to $1,500. That's what you're looking at for a set of luggage for your bike. Now the SherpaX or SherpaX, I know they're still in business. Depending on the bike. Now the bike is going to change the price. It will go up and down. I know for the KTM 690 Enduro R, it's going to run me about $1,100. They do have a custom axle bolt, and they make these axle bolts for the motorcycles that they do it for. But from what I've seen, they pretty much cover just about every dual sport that's out there from what I've seen for the most part. And the prices is going to vary up and down. And I think they start at right at just at $900, and then they go up to like $1,200. But if you go check them out, it really does. It gets your mind working a little bit, because you're like, oh, I can take this, and I can take this, and I can take this, and I can take this. Now, like I said, when you start shaking out money, if you're really going to put like hard racks and really nice, stuff, it's about the same price for, racks and panniers versus the Moto trailer. And I think that's where they tried to hit their number, is so that they were competitive with that. Now, as far as, the reliability, man, I don't know. As far as how it feels when you're riding. Now, guys say that you almost don't know that they're back there. I just don't know if I believe that or not. But I would love for somebody to truly chime in, a real adventure rider and that owns one, and says, man, I love it. Now, I know that there's one gentleman that is on Facebook that I follow him, and he follows me back, Super B, and his is custom made. but he travels everywhere with it. He uses it for everything. He puts his camera gear in there. He puts his luggage, his gear, all that type of stuff. But I will tell you this, he's had problems with it. And it was homemade, so at the end of the day, maybe that was it. Maybe it was something that maybe him and his buddy did whenever they built it. Or maybe, he just is learning as he goes. And that's my other thing is, once you get it, would you make modifications to it? And 99% of the time I'll buy something. It's never usually 100% out of the gate. I will make some kind of a modification, to a lot of the things, that I purchase, to either beef it up, or I'm like, you know what, this right here, I don't know why they didn't do this. This should have been done, like maybe add a weld or a cross bracing or just something, that's a nice thing. I mean, I kind of a jack of all trades, master of really nothing. But I mean, I know how to build, I know how to weld, I know how to construct, I know how to, think outside of the box. So some people do not know how to do that, and I understand that. They just want to order it and they want to go, and if something happens, well, then they're like, well, crap. That's what I'm trying to get across, is that, I would want to put you on it, but if you weren't totally sure, but if you're thinking about getting a luggage set, this may be another option for you. But they are super cool. They do look really neat. And man, I mean, I want one so bad I can taste it, but I just can't seem to pull down $1,000 on a maybe. Maybe you can. Maybe you're independently wealthy. I am not. That just doesn't work for me. So, but anyway, motorcycle trailers, pull behinds, not the ones you load your bike on, the ones that actually you haul your gear with behind your dual sport or your adventure bike. What do you think about them? What do you know about them? Do you have one? Have you thought about getting one? And if you have thought about getting one, why didn't you get it? Or why haven't you got it yet? Do you have the same issues or the same concerns that I have? Let everybody know down below, especially on YouTube, and tell everybody about it, because it would be very interesting to hear what your thoughts are on it. And if maybe you're on the fence too of maybe getting one, but you're not because you're just not sure, kind of like me, because I've got tons of luggage and stuff like that, but I don't want to buy a problem. That's it. Because I don't get a whole lot of motorcycle adventure trips every year. And when I do go, I would prefer not to have a major issue or problem on my trip. Maybe they never would be. Maybe this could be the end all be all of everything. I could take my tools. I could, extra tubes and tires and all this stuff. Go check them out, man. SherpaX or SherpaX. And it could be a game changer, but it could be a major headache too somewhere down the road. Anyway, I appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being part of the 690 ADV. Don't forget, if you guys want to be a sponsor, patreon.com/690ADV. We sure would really appreciate it. Help us out a ton. Don't forget, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/690ADV. And sorry about the late podcast this week. Had the Super Bowl and we had some weather here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Just things get delayed sometimes. Life happens. Can't stop it. It's going to keep on chugging. Anyway, hey, Joe, Radio 690 ADV, thank you so much. You guys have a fantastic day, and check out those trailers and tell me what you think about it and see if it's something that you'd be interested in, or if you own one, or if you have known about them for years like me and you just can't seem to pull the trigger for the same reasons. Anyway, I appreciate you. You guys have a fantastic day. 690 out.